Hello, I'm Morris Dimba. Today I'm going to show you how to place handrails on a reinforced concrete staircase manually. We will not be using any macro, so we will have full control of where and how to place the handrails on the staircase. Welcome to this tutorial once again, and we'll go straight away and get started here. Now on this model we have a staircase that will be accessing all this floor in the middle here. I'll just press Control and hold my middle button on the mouse and turn this around so that I can show you where the staircase is. Now on this staircase we want to place the handrails. Handrails are very important while doing some bit of improvement on the structure. So this will be helping on safety purposes. So handrails will be placed on one side and the other side will be against the wall, so we don't need a handrail on that side. So this is what we will arrive at. This is the handrail we are going to create. So the moment we get started, I'll delete all this, then I'll take you from step 1. I'll show you how to do this manually. You will have full control. We'll not be using any macro, so we will place the handrails where and how we want it to look like. We'll customize it to our preference. Now this is how it will look. Let me just switch back. Let me just change this view to a different view so that you can have a closer look of what we will arrive at. I'll double click on the screen, then under these view properties I'll change this rotation angle. I'll change this to 90, then I'll change this to 0, then I'll click modify. I'll come here to apply and accept. Then I'll have a clear view of this at on one side. Now this is what we will have. So if you take a look on the points, those are the points that will guide us in placing the members that will create a whole handrail for our staircase, and this will be populated to whole staircase going upward. Now let me just delete all this, then we'll start from step 1. Now all these handrails are assembled together, so the moment I press Alt and pick on one part, everything will be selected. Now I'll go ahead and do that. I'll press Alt, then pick on one member, so you'll see everything has been selected. Then on one button, press on the keyboard, I'll delete. Everything's gone. Now we remain with only the points that will be guiding us on how to place the members. And for the points, I'll show you how to place the points to guide you if you want to create a similar handrail for your staircase. Now I'll switch back to my previous view. Now if you take a look, accessing this end is very, very hectic. Now what we'll do, we'll use plane. Let me just come here. I'll come to view, then I'll use clip plane. I'll clip this end so that I can be able to reach the staircase without any problem. Now I'll pick it from this end. I'll click on this side. So the moment you see this scissor sign there, just click on that scissor sign on your left button and hold, then move to the direction you want to work on. I'll move like that. So the moment I reach on staircase, I'll stop there, and yet I haven't reached there. I'll still go. So the moment I reach that spot, I can even remove that. Just go on to that level. I'll leave it at that spot. Now I'll click on empty screen. I'll right click and interrupt, and I'll leave it at that view. Now I'll press Control. I'll press Control and I'll press Control while holding a middle button on my mouse and turn this like this. From here you can see how the reinforcements for the staircase are arranged. You can see everything inside like that. So at this point we can access all parts of the staircase we want to work on. So the first step, I want to show you how these points are created. We start with this at the bottom here. I'll go to view here. I'll go to edit. Then I'll come to points here. I'll come to at any position point. At any position point, then click on that. Then I'll snap at the middle button of this, at the middle point of this thread. I'll snap right there. So the moment I snap right there, a point will be created. Now this point, I'll click on this point that I've created. I'll right click and come to special copy here. Then on this copy linear dialog box, make sure all the ZY axis is 0 except on the axis you want to copy this point to. If you take a look here, we have the x-axis pointing on that direction, so everything should be 0, and the numbers also should be just 0, unless you want several copies of the same point. Now we want to copy this point to that direction at 60 millimeter of the edge of the thread. Now on the x-axis I'll feed 60 millimeter. And how many copies of these points do I need? I just need 1. I'll type 1 on that box. So the moment I click copy, it will be copied on that direction. I can delete this and show you that. I can delete this so that you can see that clearly. I'll delete this and again delete that. There were 2 already copied. Let me just do that. I'll delete that once again. There are several copied there. Yes, it's gone. Now the 60 millimeter offset that I was talking about, after creating this point at the middle point of this thread, is done like this. You select the point you've created like that, then right click on the spot, right click on the same point, then come to copy special and come to linear here. Then on the x-axis, as I said before, that make sure the other axis are reading 0 dimensions. Then feed the dimension you want on the right axis, then give it the number of copies of similar point. How many copies do you want? We just need 1. Offset from the edge of the thread to the direction of x-axis. Now it is 60. I'll go ahead and click copy. You'll see that already created. So the moment you've done that, you click on these. We want to offset these points up by 800. We want the height of our handrail to be 800 from the thread level. Now from here to here is 800. We can verify that or counter check that. I'll snap on the bottom here and snap right here, and you can read it from this end. It is 800 millimeter. Same. So the moment you've done this, now we want to copy these points to every thread, but we will omit one step after the other. We omit one thread, then place it on the midpoint of another of this thread, like the way I'll do it now. I'll pick these together. I'll pick this and press Ctrl and pick on this. Then I'll right click and come to copy. Then I'll copy it from the midpoint. From the midpoint here, I'll snap right there, and I'll skip this step. Then copy it in the next one. I'll just snap right there, then skip this, then snap right here. You'll be copying these 2 points all the way to the point, all the way to the landing. And I wind it up here with this height. But since the height of this step is 150, now the distance from this point to this point will not be 800. It will be 800 minus 150, so it will be 650. It won't be the same with this. Same thing you do on this flight. Now let's get started by placing the handrails. After showing you how to place the guiding points for your handrails. Now I'll go straight to steel and come to beams right there. I'll click on beam, then I'll snap right here. Note the right step, we will use the poly beam in the first place. I'll come to concrete and come to poly beam right here. Once you've clicked on poly beam and take a look on the bottom here, the program is asking you to pick a polygon position. I want my first position to be here on the 60 millimeter offset point that we created. Then I'll go to the next point, then I'll go to this end. I'll make sure that I'm snapping in the right points, since the points are many here, and if you're not careful they might confuse you. Then I'll snap. Let me just turn this round. So, and this is the beauty of understanding what you're doing. If you've created these points and you understand the location of every point, they cannot confuse you at all. Now I'll snap on this point and snap on this point, and just press Control and pressing my middle button on the mouse, and I'll click on the bottom point here. So the moment I click, you can also read that reading of 650. It's actually the height of the stanchion or the post at the landing of the staircase. Now I'll snap at the bottom here. So the moment I snap at the bottom here, I'll press my middle button just to terminate our polygon at that spot. Now that is our first work done. This will run all the way, and it will be welded. This will be a miter joint, and also at this point will be a miter joint, and this also will be a miter joint. Now we want to check or confirm the size of this pipe. I'll double click on this pipe to bring us the dialog box where we will be able to change the pipe size that has come up as a default. Now it is CHS circular hollow section 33.7 by 3 millimeter thick. We want to change that. We want that to be on the railing, on the railing side, and for the stanchion we want a different size. We want a bigger size. Now I'll go ahead and click on this button here, radio button there, under profile. This will bring the catalog dialog box where we'll be able to pick on the appropriate size of the circular hollow section. And there it comes here. From here you can see the choice that has been picked as a default, and this, as I told you, this will choose this for the handrails, but for the post or the stanchions of our handrails we'll work with 42 or 48 if you like. We'll pick on 42, by 3mm thick. We'll pick on that and go ahead and click apply and give a node to that. I'll go here and accept that, accept the choice by clicking modify button, and that will change the size. You can take a look, it looks slightly bigger. Now we want to make sure that the pipe is sitting right center of the point that we placed on the staircase. Now I'll press Control and press the middle button on my mouse so that I can turn this and take a look on how this is has positioned itself with our points. Now it's sitting right on the points we placed as a guide. Now we have no problem with that, with the points. Now what we'll do, we'll just turn this round and do the same thing on this flight also. Flight means this: one step to the landing and another one step starting from this end to this end. This flight one and this another flight. I'll click on empty screen just to deselect what has been selected, and we don't want to use that. Now we want to do a similar thing on this flight. Well, I'll come back to beam and pick on polybeam. Once I've picked on polybeam, I'll snap right here and snap right here. Then from here to here is 800. Now I'll run all the way to this end and snap on this point. As I showed you how to create the points, it shouldn't be a problem. It's a very simple thing. If you've been following this channel, we've used a lot of points and how to create the points and how the points work, so it shouldn't be a very hectic job to do. Now I'll snap on that spot and come at the bottom here. I'll snap on this point, then press my middle button on the mouse just to terminate our polygon at that point. I'll right click and interrupt just to exit from that command. Then I'll press Control and turn this to check whether the post has positioned themselves at exact points placed on the staircase. That is sitting perfect. Now we want to place other members on our staircase, but we'll start right bottom here. We'll go ahead and go ahead to beam and steel, and we want to place a stanchion here or a post here running all the way to this height. We'll snap right there. You can also see that reading 800. We'll do the same thing here. Snap on that spot and snap right there, 800. Then do the same thing here and run all the way and snap right here. Just target the spot, don't target anything else. We've created that on that spot. Then we'll come on these points once again. Just snap on the point, don't snap on any part of the staircase. Then we'll snap here. We'll snap right here. Just zoom close, make sure you snap on the right position. I'll snap right on that spot. So for that case, we've cleared with the post or stanchions on the first flight. Now we are going to the second flight. We want to start placing our the first post here, and if you take a look here, we should place. I'm seeing it's necessary to place a stanchion here, which will not look like the first flight handrail. Stanchion, how the stanchions or post has been placed will have an excess of one. Now I'll snap here and snap here. Perfect. I'll snap here and snap one here. I'll snap right here and zoom closer. I'll snap right here and I'll come the bottom end here, then take this one all the way to this point to make it 800. You can also read on the screen here, it's reading 800 from that point to that point. It's 800, which means we are right. Now I'll snap right here, then target this end. Let me zoom closer. I'll snap right there. I'll right click and click interrupt just to deactivate or exit from that command. Now I'll turn this round and I'll add one post here. I will not add one post here because one step has been already omitted, so there's no need of adding any. So the next thing we are going to do, we want to start placing the rails. Now with the assistance of these points, we'll start placing the rails. I'll pick on the polybeam right here. I'll click on the polybeam under steel. Then I'll make sure I'm snapping on the right on the point here. I'll snap on that spot. Then I'll run all the way or move all the way to this spot right here and snap right here. Remember, we are doing this manually, so we're having the control of everything we are doing, and we can place it anywhere and how we want it. That is what we mean by customizing the handrails. Now I'll snap right here. So the moment I've snapped right here, I'll press my middle button on the mouse just to terminate my polygon right there. You can see it has been created, and I'll just click on that, and I will not copy. I'll move it fast. 100 with the 200 millimeter. I'll right click first to invoke that move command. I'll come to move special and click linear. Then I'll work on Z axis. Under Z axis, I'll prefix my dimension of 200 with a negative sign just to make sure we are not moving up anymore, we are going down. I'll prefix the 200 with a negative sign. Then I'll come to move here. It will move it will move with 200 millimeter, but the size of this pipe shouldn't be the same with the size of the posts. Now I'll change this size to 33.3. Now you double click on that on the pipe you remember you want to change the size, then come to profile, then click on the radio button just opposite the profile box. Right click. This will bring the catalog box, the dialog box, or the catalog box, or the catalog box for all the materials, steel materials. From there you can change to the appropriate size of the steel member of your choice. And as I told you, we're going to work with the 33 here. Now under 33.7, with several thickness of this pipe, we'll work with the 33.7 by 3 millimeter thick. We'll pick on that. Then we'll go straight away and apply and accept that. Then having done that, do the same thing here. Modify. Click modify to enable the Tekla structure to accept your changes. Click modify. Then close that. So this size is different with this. Now we want to populate this downward at a distance of 200 millimeter in between interval. I'll right click here and come to special copy, then click linear. Now under linear, we'll change this x-axis to 0. Then we'll work with the z-axis. With the z-axis, we'll prefix 200 with a negative sign, and we don't need 1, we need 2 here. Then go ahead and click copy. Perfect, it has been copied. Now just click OK. Now you can see this already created here, handrail already created, and we want to do the similar thing here. We'll come back to steel beam and come to poly beam, and we want to do the same thing here. We'll snap on that spot, then we'll target this spot here. We'll target this spot here and snap on this spot right there. Then move all the way to this end. Move all the way to this end, then snap on that spot. Then press our middle button on the mouse to terminate our polygon at that point. I'll press that. The way it is now, you are not able to see whether it has been created. I'll click on empty screen just to deactivate what has been to deactivate or to deselect anything that has been selected. Now I'll press Ctrl 2 so that you can be able to see what is actually inside this. Now I'll click on that. So the moment I've clicked on that, I'll switch back to my previous presentation. I'll press Ctrl 4. Now that is already created, already selected. Now what we'll do, we'll just right click and come to a special move. I'll give it a linear move, or I'll need a linear offset. I'll click that. Then I'll click move. Since our settings still standing, I'll click move. I'll click OK, right click and come to interrupt. It has been moved down here, and this still the same size as the upper rail, handrail I mean. Now I'll double click on this because I want to change this to match the other handrail that we changed to 3. This is 3mm, which is okay. So we don't need to change this. We'll just go ahead and do another copy of this. I'll come to copy linear and pick that, and our settings still standing. I'll just go ahead and click copy. There we are, and I'll give it a nod by clicking OK or accepting what has been done. Now it's like we are done. Now we want to assemble all this together, and prior to assembling all this, we want to link this handrail at the landing here. We want to put a rail here and a rail and put a rail here and populate at a distance of 200. We'll come back to beam here and pick on that, and since we are still default, the moment the Tekla structure pick the last steel member you worked with as a default member. Now let's snap on that spot and snap here. That 33.7 times 3mm thick is picked as a default on every creation of steel member created. I'll click on that, right click. I want to give it a move of, I want to offset it by 55mm up. Then from here I want to populate this up by 200mm up. I'll click that. Then I'll remove this negative sign prefixing our 200mm sign and add 3 here. I need 3 of these. Then I'll click copy. Perfect. 3 there. This has been joined. Now it is perfectly joined. You can see this welded right there. Perfectly done. Now what we are going to do, we want to combine this handrail and this to make it one assembly, so that it makes works easier when doing the installation. Now I'll go ahead and pick all these members. I'll pick all these members. I'll pick that. I'll pick that. Pick that. Pick that. I'll make sure I've picked everything. I'll press Ctrl while doing the selection. That one has been selected. I want to pick on this. I want to pick on this. I want to pick on this. that also. I'll zoom out to have a clear view of the next part I'm moving to. I'll bring it closer. I'll bring it closer by pressing the control while pressing the control button on the mouse. I'll click on that, click on that, click on this rail, click on this rail, and click on that. I've finished that. Now I'll just moving around just to check the part that hasn't been selected. There are three parts that haven't been that have not been selected, and I'll go straight to them. This part down here, I'll press Control and pick on this, press Control and pick on that, and I'll zoom out just to go to the next member that hasn't been selected. I'll zoom closer. I'll zoom closer. Now I press Control and pick on this and this. Now, if you take a look, everything has been created or has been selected and has been done to our preference, how we want it to be, or how I want it to be. You can do it your own way, but following the same process if you can. And I really want you to understand how this is created. Now, having selected all this, we are going to assemble these handrails together. Now, once I've selected, I'll right click and come to add to assembly. I'll click add to assembly after right clicking. Then I can add it to any part here. I can add it to any I can add it to any part. You can add it to here, to this member. You can add it to this handrail. Now I'll click on this. So once I've done that, I'll just go ahead and click on empty screen just to remove the selection. So to check whether everything has been assembled, go to your keyboard and press Alt, then click on any part of this handrail. The moment you click on that, everything has been selected, and this will make it easy for us to populate this upward to all the staircase. Now what we are going to do, once I've selected that, I'll zoom it out. And now I'll right click and come to spatial copy and click linear. So under linear, we want the staircase to be these handrails to be copied to the rest of the staircase going up. Now, how many landings do we have? We have close to 4 landings. We have probably 4 landings. I'll press 4 right there. Then will you work with the height of the ceiling from the finished floor to the ceiling? We worked with 3 meters. I'll type 3 meters on the Z-axis box. Then I'll go straight away and click copy, and you'll see how this is copied to every staircase created. It is boom, and right on the spot. Everything has been copied to the right location. It has gone all the way to this end, and they have been copied right to the last flight. You can have a look at that. You can turn this round and see what has been done. So I've assembled 2 handrails for 2 flights. Like this one here, if I press Alt, that one is 1 assembly, and I press Alt and click on this, that is 1 assembly, going all the way to the bottom end. So this is how we can create or customize the handrails if you don't want to use the macro that somehow it limits you to the options of your preference. So this is how it is. and I think this will help you. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, and let's meet on the next tutorial. I'm Morris Dimba, and bye bye.